It's a lovely good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on this Wednesday, 6th of September 2023. And of course, you are watching the SME Corner right here on Millennium TV. And of course, you're catching us live and direct from our Longacre studios. You are catching us live on your Top Star Decoders channel 95, and we're also streaming live on Facebook. We are Millennium TV Zambia. Get to like the page and of course get interactive. Now, SMEs, this is the program for you. Just in case you're a startup and thinking of how you're going to set up your business, what you need to do, where you need to go, who you need to talk to, how you need to register your business. This is the platform where you need to stay glued to, because we are here to give you the right steps and lead you into your successful business venture. And of course, today our topic of discussion is quite interesting, and with a very interesting person in studio. Maybe even before we get to the topic of discussion, let me introduce our guest today. We have Mr. Owen Katongo, and of course he's Mr. Owen Katongo Kabanda. I'll also be able to give you a brief history of who he is, what he's done. So in studio, we're being joined by Mr. Owen Katongo Kabanda, like I explained earlier, a management and leadership advisor with over 15 years of experience as a human resource manager and consultants for various businesses and companies in Zambia. Now, you would also like to know that Mr. Kabanda has worked with various businesses from, 1 to over 1,600 employees. He is also, he's also somebody who has a passion for entrepreneurship. As much as most of you have always seen him talk about corporate businesses, but he's here to actually address the SMEs themselves. Mr. Kabanda, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
It's really a great pleasure to have you after a long time.
Yes, I appreciate it. It's actually nice to be here.
Indeed it is. Now, before we even get into our main conversation, maybe in a brief, I would want you to just explain who an SME is.
Thank you so much. Like you were saying, for a long time I really been working with big companies.
Yes.
But really, when it comes to the SMEs, we are really looking at the small and medium enterprises, and in the simplest definition, you're really looking at companies that have small revenues compared to the big corporations. At the same time, if you look at maybe in terms of employees, you're looking at businesses with maybe for the small enterprises, maybe less than 50 employees. You can also look at the medium enterprises that may have maybe even up to like 100 employees. But again, employees is not just the only measure, and that's why revenue becomes important. But in a nutshell, that is what you look at. Some businesses are big in terms of revenue, but they have very few employees. But really, we are talking about the startups, those colleagues of ours who are starting businesses in various places.
Definitely. Now, one would tend to ask to say, why are SMEs important to our country, especially when it comes to contribution to the GDP, maybe?
Yeah, really, SMEs, they are extremely important to any nation. And Zambia is not an exception. When you look at SMEs, they are really out there in the communities. It's one person starting to run their small business, and in that way, they are not only making money for the family, but they're also creating even employment to others. They're also providing even other market opportunities for other businesses within a community. So they are really important in running the economy of any company, any country, and that's why it's important that they are also supported, because in a way, as they operate in these communities, they are now also adding to the country's growth.
Okay. Before I get to my other important question, of course, I would want to find out from you. For a long time now in Zambia, we've had a challenge with access to finance. SMEs have always had challenges with access to finance. What do you think is the major reason as to why this has been a major challenge in SMEs, as well as also just looking at the fact that despite government being able to introduce all these, departments or institutions that can actually help when it comes to finances, we still see our SMEs struggling in Zambia?
Yeah, it's a big big challenge. The issue is it comes from different perspectives. To start with, is our financial education, business education, so to say. From childhood, you have you are not so much exposed to actually learning about how you manage the business, how do you start a business, how do you run a business. So from a young age, we are not so much exposed to actually starting businesses and running them. And when you come to talking about even how to manage the finances, it also becomes a challenge. So you find that when these entrepreneurs even want to access the funding, they have also not been exposed to understanding what kind of paperwork they might need to have. They have not been exposed to the knowledge that they need to have in terms of how do they start formalizing even their businesses. Because, for instance, with the banks, the SME will have to demonstrate that they have been performing a certain way, even with microfinance institutions. And so you find that a lot of times people are running, they are buying things, they are selling things, they are not keeping any receipts, they don't have any books to show even how their business has been performing. And this has been really a great challenge around even the support to entrepreneurs. So, and some of those who might even access the funds, it's also about how they use the money. So sometimes they go to someone maybe who can help them to prepare a very good proposal, but they have not gotten the necessary skills to actually run that business. So they, through the proposals, they can get the funds, but then in terms of utilization of the funds, they start sometimes diverting. So you find that the concept was very good, but to actually run the actual business now, some money have been used now to buy furniture in the house, to go and buy a car or something like that, depending on what that entrepreneur now thinks. And that is where I was talking about the issue around our education, our culture, which should embrace a lot to do with business, so that even from an early age, someone can start learning this is how you actually can start a business, and this is how you can run a business, so that you can distinguish personal things from business. And when you have some funds which come, you know how you can actually run with that. And that's why we emphasize even the aspect of that education, but also formalizing and structuring the businesses. There's also something that I've really noted when it comes to entrepreneurs. It's mostly often easy for these people to start out working alone. Why is it so? Yeah, really, it depends on when it comes to working alone, it's really the easiest. You wake up, you can determine as an entrepreneur when you wake up, when you go to eat, when you make a phone call to someone who said they have something that you can supply to another person. So it's really that control that you find with the entrepreneurs. And so, and some of them, the starting point is really where they are looking at. It's out of passion. They say, I want to do business. So, but doing that business really is, the person starts alone, and they can test certain things and see how it is working. In some cases, the person really is out of having no choice. For instance, where you have colleagues who abruptly loses a job, maybe they have been fired or they have been retired, and they have not gotten the ideas of how actually they can work with others. So most of the time they will just really start alone and try to see how they can go by. But really most of the times people start alone. It gives them a lot of control of what they do at any particular time.
So then what tends to happen when the entrepreneur themselves reach a point where they are ready to actually work with maybe 2 or more people? What then should that entrepreneur start thinking of? What should be in their minds? What should be their steps to take?
Yeah, so when an entrepreneur, like we said, starts alone, depending on the business. Let's say the person said that you would want to try maybe just keeping chickens. They started with maybe 100 chickens, 200 chickens. Along the way, they now realize the business is growing. So they need another person to help with the feeding. At that point, they start now to think of someone to bring. It could be in a shop. You started out with a very little stock. You just have some sugar there.
Sugar.
But eventually, as the business starts to grow, the entrepreneur realizes that they might need somebody else to work with. And so those things happen, and it could be even in supply, where you know eventually as you are working, as you are running your business, you need additional people. So those things always happen, especially where a business has started and it keeps on growing. It could be event management. You will realize that you cannot run the event alone. So maybe you need to run around, someone needs to go and buy something so that you can now run this event for these people. So in terms of business, it is inevitable. At some point, an entrepreneur will have to work with someone. Really, the question will be now, who do they even work with at that point? If it's a relative, if it's a wife, if it's a friend. So as business just starts to grow, there comes a time when the entrepreneur will have to find themselves working with another person. And that's why we usually emphasize that apart from you being able to find the business, maybe it is supply, you've been buying things from this side, or someone, you get something from this side, you go and sell. Apart from you having the skills to make your connections or logistics, you will definitely at some point have to start understanding how do you manage not only yourself, because remember when we're talking about you just starting as an entrepreneur, you're all by yourself.
Yes.
You wake up whatever time you want. But now as the business starts to grow, now you have this additional person, 2 or 3 or more.
Yes. And
they also have their time they want to do things. So that's where really, as an entrepreneur, the aspect of people management starts to kick in. You have to start finding ways and means of making sure that your team is well organized. You can get them to a point where really, when you say, guys, we need to do this at this point in time, they really start to understand what you're trying to achieve. Otherwise, that part of the business growing and having to require more people, it will always come.
Okay. When we talk about requiring more people on your business, there's always an aspect of thinking, if I get somebody who's qualified, definitely I need to know how much I'm going to pay them, and you know what they'll give me, their conditions and such things. But then most entrepreneurs, we've noted that they would actually opt more to maybe work with their family members. In your own way, would you think it's always the best idea for a startup entrepreneur who's just setting up their business to always maybe start a business with family, or would you advise that they choose independent people?
Yeah, so this
no, because this is what I'm seeing
going on for a long time in the business world versus the employment aspect. It's always going to be there, really. And like we said, it's about the aspect of the entrepreneur once they start the business. If the entrepreneur, for instance, was starting solo, they were all by themselves, really the most easy target to have as an employee would really be a family member. Because sometimes the entrepreneur is sharing the idea with the family. I would like to do this, or now I'm buying things from this side. So the other family members are also observing, and some they want to be part of that. Whether for free or to get paid, it's another issue. But you find that usually with friends and family, they start to see what you are doing, and they want to come and be part of that. But sometimes it's not even the family members who want to be part of that. It is yourself. As an entrepreneur, you see that maybe you don't have so much money. The only money you have is maybe just money to buy what you want to buy and to supply, or whatever it is that you're doing. So who is the best person to call upon? It's a family member, or cousin, or niece, or nephew. Can you come over and help me to deliver this, or help me to, if it's like a chicken business I was talking about, I need someone to feed the chickens. And usually the family members, they are not being paid a lot of money. So because we are family, we are supposed to understand each other. We're just, we're just starting off. So
this money is for the family.
It's for the family. Though we have always said, if you are going to start a business, and this is why we emphasize the aspect of formalizing your business, structuring your business, because we have to always emphasize this aspect that no matter what happens, the people that are working with you, whether they are relatives or they are your friends or it's somebody you just found from anywhere, from the legal point of view, there is as long as they are working with you, you create what is called the employment relationship, meaning that you are the employer and they are employees. And under the law, there are laws that provide what you should be paying them, the hours of work, and the duties you should be giving them, and all those kind of things. So, in as much as you start off as a family, you really have to reach a point where you start formalizing things very quickly, so that you are not found wanting at some point. Because even that relative, if at some point they choose to take you to court, that you never paid them, because sometimes we agree that, okay, if we sell this rice, if you're doing a conde rice, or if you sell these chickens, we'll share. But at that point, even the sharing is not well defined. So that's why it's really important that there is clear understanding of what that relationship you're having as a family, that there's work involved. And even when you have brought together that family or a friend, you make them understand what they have to be doing in your company. Otherwise, if you have the finances, you have the money, you could go out to the market and actually hire people based on the skills you're actually looking for. But of course, usually we say, wait until your business is able to generate enough money for you to support hiring more experienced people.
Okay. Why is it very important for somebody to critically understand, especially when it comes to an entrepreneur, why is it very important for them to understand their business and, you know, how they're going to put out the business structure even before they start hiring?
Yeah, it's really very important, because some people, look, sometimes it's excitement. If, like colleagues, after you leave work, some gratuity with you or some pension, and this is actually what kills a lot of businesses within the few years or even months. Because you came with this pension, all of a sudden you have not even understood what the business you're going to do. You want to now hire, and the problem that comes also, if you are from these white collar jobs, you have this big office, you start buying all the expensive furniture because you want to replicate what you had at the office. You should have a big table here, air cons and whatnot, but maybe that's not what you need now in business. That could come later on. Of course, if really having those kind of things is adding value to your business, we have no problem with that. But it's important to first of all sit down and try to understand your business. If you are in supply, what does this business actually mean? Where am I getting the products that I'm supplying? And at what margins am I actually making from these things that I'm supplying? If you are producing, you are into farming, you are maybe rearing chickens, as we've said, or whatever it is that you are doing, it's important to sit down first of all and look at that business, understand the business. Where's your market for this business? Because if you have not spent time to really understand the business, you start getting excited. All of a sudden you bring together a big team that maybe you don't even need, because there's just one-off event, or somebody just called you, we need this. All of a sudden you think now you're a big employer, you're a big buyer, you bring together a huge team that you might not even need. So we always say it's important that you really take your time, understand the business, and once you understand the business, then you can even see what kind of clients do I have, which kind of clients will pay what, how much money really am I realistically expecting to make through this business, so that even by the time you are going to be bringing more people on board, you know that really this business will be sustainable, even if it is simple businesses like mobile money and so on. Don't just get with so much money and say, now I'm having so many people. Let me, because you have to see even how do commissions come in. Because you're going to hire people because you are using your capital, and then at the end of the day you find that the commission you have to pay, maybe to the several employees you have, you are paying 10,000, and the commission you are making from that business is only maybe 6,000. So that's not sustainable. So that's why it's important really to spend time, understand the business well, so that even when you have to hire people, you know it is going to work well.
There's been one mistake that most entrepreneurs constantly make, and we've seen them make this mistake over and over again. It's the aspect of being unable to separate their profit from their capital. And we've seen entrepreneurs that started off so well, they've grown, and at a certain stage, they just get to their business gets to crumble. What is it that really makes most entrepreneurs not being able to know at what point am I using my profit and at what point am I investing in my capital?
Yeah, it's really just important. Like I mentioned at the very beginning, we are not brought up in a space where these things are taught to us. And that's the difficult part. We are taught all sorts of things, but not business. So,
not business minded.
So you growing up, the only thing you know, your mother, your father gets a salary. But really we don't have a culture to really understand what is really money itself. If I'm making this money, how much did I put into this
into
business?
the business?
Which one is really capital? Which one is really profit? And again, this is where we say there are a lot of places where you go for some financial training. You cannot be an expert in everything. You can be so good at selling products, but if you are struggling on the financial side, go humble yourself. You're looking at building your own business. Go and learn. You might not know everything in HR. You might not know everything on the legal side of business. That's why we're saying if you really are starting the business and as an SME, at some point you want to grow, you also have to start investing in knowledge and skills. There are things that you can even be reading online. There are so many articles, there are so many videos, but where need be also you just go for workshops, go for credible training, or pick up a mentor, go to someone who can actually help you, because these are the things that always lead to problems. The moment you see some money coming in, you can't even, and let's say even just take an example of just a chicken business. You put in, let's say, 15,000 or 20,000, and you are running that business for your first cycle of chickens. Now, when you come and sell, maybe you make 30 or 27,000. You have forgotten that maybe the 20,000 you had put in is supposed to help you to bring in another cycle for the chickens. Yes. Because now the money looks big, and the problem also comes because sometimes money doesn't come at the same time.
Yes.
So you can't even tell where you have to stop. You can't protect that your initial 20,000 you had put in, everything is chewed. And at the end of the day, you hear people like business, no, we tried it, no, maybe there's witchcraft. There's no witchcraft. The only issue here is that we don't know better. And that's why we all have to invest in learning, consulting from others. I think that for me is really the culture that as business owners, entrepreneurs need to embrace. Just having some capital at some point is not good enough for you to just say, I will run a successful business. Because if you have not invested in learning more and more, you will have the money, but maybe that money also ends up being chewed by other things. Dear viewers, you are watching the SME Corner right here on Millennium TV. We're coming to you live and direct from our Longacre studios. We are Millennium TV on channel 95. That is on your Top Star decoders. But we are also streaming live on Facebook. We are Millennium TV Zambia. Get to like the page and, of course, get interactive. Right about now, we will get a word from our sponsors, and then we'll be right back to continue with our discussion.
Wakwane's General Consultancy is a globally recognized name with a 99% success rate on all our services. We pride ourselves in our service delivery, which puts our clients' interests above our own. We are your #1 consultancy for all immigration issues, visas for all countries, business brokering, company incorporation, ZRA consultancy, NAPSA, council permits and certificates, debt collection, labor issues, travel consultancy, research, project management, and all other general consultancy. We love to serve you even in the comfort of your own home and deliver to you beyond your expectations. Contact us on or WhatsApp 0973 066881 or visit our head office along Chipovu Road, plot number 7, Road Spark, Lusaka, Zambia.
Welcome back. You are still watching SME Corner with me, your host Rebecca Gomez. In studio, I'm being joined by Mr. Owen Katongo Kabanda, and of course we are just looking at structure for SMEs. How do you get to structure your business? How do you start planning for, a business? Even before you start thinking of employing 20 people, what are the key factors that you need to put down and ask yourself, am I ready to really hire 20 people, or I'm not ready? So Mr. Katongo, before we went on a break, we were looking at the reason as to why many people have actually ended up, chewing, including their investments, 20p in IFMish, because somebody was thinking, I've got a lot of money. And we've seen this happen time and again. Also, maybe the one thing that I would also want to find out from you is, are we really doing enough when it comes to financial literacy, especially for SMEs in Zambia? Because like I said earlier, we've had institutions such as the CEEC come on board, and we know that there are a number of financial institutions out there that are offering, empowerment to these SMEs, but they still fail to thrive. So the question could be, is it really that we're doing enough to help these SMEs, especially when it comes to financial literacy?
I think it's a number of institutions have done some great jobs, but really, like I said, we are a growing economy. I think there's just need to continue really investing and helping people to understand business and financial literacy needs to be top of the agenda, including helping children even from school. I would love from childhood to have learned a lot about managing finances. That I think it really helps. But also learning more about businesses. It should be really something that becomes a normal discussion. Yes. Instead of while we have parties and all these come together things, let's also celebrate businesses. Yes. It should eventually become something that everybody knows. Okay, if I have some idea, I could run with that idea. I could make money out of that idea. I could bring together a team. We can make a company and things of that nature. It should be a continuous process in terms of really financial literacy and even business management, and those things, as I've said, they should really become part of our culture in real time, so that even the effort being done by various institutions, then you can really see bigger impact in that. But also, I know that some institutions, what they do really to help the SMEs is not necessarily hold them, but to have some time with them. Sometimes before they can even access certain funding, they are told to start small. Maybe they are given 6 months, and they are told, can you prepare this? Can you even if, like just that same example I'm giving of chickens, go around, understand the business. The market. You can start small, and even just how to keep receipts, how do you buy feed, and all that kind of thing, so that they start to understand the importance of even just keeping that receipt, seeing the transport they spend, the talk time. So you now helping them to come up with the simple books. They don't have to be complicated things, but then eventually the entrepreneur starts to see a pattern that they actually need these things. They need to recognize a certain cost, because sometimes when it's just you just spend. This one costs, you just spend, but then how are you treating that in terms of the business? Where is that money coming from? So all that requires also hand-holding the entrepreneur at some point, so that they understand how to run the businesses. Even as they are, then you can be scaling up also in terms of how much money they can access to also invest more into their business, because you can literally see that, okay, they're able to manage this amount, now they can scale up. But again, there are different models depending on the institutions that they are giving the
finances.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, why is it very, very important for an entrepreneur to have an organization structure? Because we're looking at an entrepreneur, just SMEs, even startups, just having a well-organized structure. So one would get to ask, what are the benefits of having such a structure?
Yeah, really. So if you start a business, and let's look at the companies or the businesses that have gone even as far as maybe registering now with PACRA.
Yes.
So it's encouraged that businesses formalize. We know, of course, the formalizing business comes with a cost, because there are all these costs that you have to pay.
Yes.
But if you can, and this is something we are emphasizing, you register your business, because as you register your business, you then start to formalize everything. You understand, you have the papers with the BACRA, you have the ZRA, you have NAPSA papers, workers' compensation, the council and everything. That part is really formalizing the business in terms of the legal requirement. But internally, inside your business,
the business itself,
you then still need to sit down and start thinking, okay, how do we structure ourselves? Who is doing what? So at some point as a business owner, let's say you have 2, 3, 4, 5 people that you are working with.
Yes.
You need to ask yourself, okay, if I'm not there, who can authorize what? Who can buy what? Is it everybody you can give money to go and buy things, or there will be someone that you have to give money?
Yes.
Is it everybody who can go and talk to the clients? So you will find that within your team, you will find some people that one of the team members who you think he can speak well, they can market, or this one who is good with finances. So it really, even as you start small, it's very, very important that you start looking at how you structure yourselves.
Yes.
So even if it's a family-run business, can be husband and wife, and even in the shop, if you have a shop, if you are working with some workers there, they need to know who is really the boss. The fact that a man traditionally is considered to be the head of the house, business is a different issue. Maybe the wife is the one in charge of the business. So it really, that aspect we are talking about, there is need to sit down and think through who is going to be in charge.
Yes.
So if you are going to be in charge, then who is now reporting to you?
To you.
Okay. So let's say you have John, Mary, and whatever number of people you have. Will all these people be reporting to you? Okay. Or are you going to make the other person to be more of now a supervisor? Who is it? Everybody who's going to be talking to you at the same time, or you're going to say, okay, for these things, if you need this, maybe speak with James, and then you organize. Who is even going to be doing a report? Let's say you want to. Remember, we're talking about even accessing funding. Who has the ability to even put together papers for you?
Yes.
So it is really from that perspective that you have to sit down as a business and say, okay, here, this one will be now responsible for this. And as you assign those duties, right, it becomes also extremely important that you yourself, as an entrepreneur, you start realizing that now you are going to be working with other people.
Yes.
There are times when you have given work to this one and this one, but yourself, you have not let go of those things. Of course, you remember where we started as a solo entrepreneur, you're working alone, you are really controlling everything. Now at this point, you have a team. So sometimes it becomes frustrating also for the team, where you told them before, okay, for those things you should go through John.
Yeah.
Then John tries to make it, but who told you that? You know, so
who did you talk to?
Who did you talk to? No, so even as an entrepreneur, you need to learn to delegate, especially if you as a business grows, you're going to even be found in multiple places. I know people always say, no, you have to just really be the one doing everything. That works very well. If you're just going to be in one location, your business is just in one location, well and good. But if you are going to now even grow to a point where you also have multiple locations for your business, you will then have to really structure yourself. So coming up with a structure really is very, very important. It requires you to think through. Remember what we even said about understanding the business. Once you have understood your business, am I in supply? Is it a chicken run? Is it hair styling? Is it makeup? Is it TV? Is it what? Then you are saying, okay, with this business, who's going to be doing what? Yes. And once you have now put that, because remember, it will also affect even the salaries a bit. Yes, okay? Definitely. If you are saying, this is now our supervisor, definitely, if everybody is getting a 2.5, maybe the supervisor will get maybe a 3,000. So these things, you can't just be throwing big titles. And we see this with a number of entrepreneurs. They even say manager this, but the salary is the same for everyone. What does that mean? So that's why having a small structure really helps you to define what each person will be doing, as well as even how you're going to pay them, because once that is done, then it gives you a clear perspective in terms of how you'll be operating.
So is it always very important for one to always at all times be able to learn how to delegate in a business, or sometimes it's also very important for you to even know what's going on in your business?
Exactly. So it's important that you understand. That's why we kept on saying understand your business. Again, if you just start a business and you really don't understand how it operates, there are people who are sharp enough. They are going to tell you, we need to buy this, we need to buy this, and you're spending, but that is not adding any value to
your business.
Sometimes people, remember even the employees we're talking about, if they are 2, 3, 4, 5, they are sharp enough. If it is in certain businesses, if you have not understood, let's say even the chicken business, I keep on giving you as an example, you have not understood even how much feed you need to give the chickens. They will always tell you, oh bossy,
you're still feed.
Yet they removed the bag.
And they went to resell.
So they are making money. So it's a matter of you really understanding what goes in here. Sometimes it's not even that they are stealing. Sometimes they have not understood the quantities they should be giving. So maybe they give so much. In the end, remember we talked about you're in business because you have to make money. You now have to go and buy more. Or they give very little, and then your chickens now are not getting the necessary weight. It could be in supply. They tell you because they have not also understood. They just know these things we get from the mines we can supply. You have not also understood the business, and they bring you things that now you're stuck with. So that's why we emphasize the aspect of understanding the business, so that even as you give the people that are going to work with you, you know what you expect from them. You delegate, and you're able to also monitor. Because remember, you're a small business, you're growing. So also don't be, we always say, don't be an absent landlord. Where you have just given the work, you walk away because no now. We are the ones. Business is booming, so it's okay. You walk away. Employees are able to look at you, and once they know that this person he has delegated and you will not pass through, they also take their time. They start doing all sorts of things. And so there are those businesses where, let's say it's a salon, and the boss only works in at 14 hours because it was no, they are observing that. So as you structure your business, you also have to now make it very clear, if you know that you're going to also be doing other things, put in place a person who's now going to be in charge, so that even if you are not going to be there, that person will be running the business. And that's why having that little structure to the business becomes very, very important. And the structure, as we've said, it doesn't have to be complex. Like when we work with these big companies, we'll come up with a structure for you for maybe over 100, 500 employees. But for a small business, you're simply saying, okay, if me, I'm the one in charge. Remember, wherever you sit on the structure, it comes with responsibilities. Boss, you need to be there, or if you are not there, who is going to be? So you start now putting who's in charge of this, who's in charge of this. You create that simple structure that works for you, and then you respect that structure also, so that the decisions that are being made by that person you have assigned, you can actually allow them to make certain decisions. But of course, with you being there, checking that everything is being done in line with your requirements, so that you are not having surprises where you say, oh, I was working with this, I don't even know what happened. They just left. That's the thing.
Now, even as we talk about understanding the structure of the business, and also the benefits, and also just how one can set up a structure, there's always an aspect of wanting to know who takes up which role and which duties, especially when it comes to the organization structure. Maybe kindly just explain to us how, maybe for example, I'm running a restaurant. How then do I get to distribute these roles and duties to my employees, just to make sure that it's actually inclined with my organization structure?
Yeah, so really, like you have said, having clear duties, well defined, it really helps.
Yeah.
So if, with the example you have given about a restaurant, if I own that restaurant, let's say you have maybe 5 people working with you. Within that restaurant, you should see, okay, who can be a supervisor here?
Yeah.
Let's say you have 5 people working with you. Who can be telling this? You can, if it is just in one location, you don't have multiple locations, and you yourself, you are in the business, then you can also be the one who is in charge. They are reporting to you.
Yes.
But now you need to now sit down. Okay. In our restaurant, is it you, or you have assigned another person who will be going to buy, for instance, the things you need in that restaurant? Who is going to be buying the cooking oil, the ingredients, the vegetables, whatever it is, the meat and so on? That person needs to be needs to know what exactly you need in that restaurant. What kind of clients do you also have, and what are they going to be eating? So within the business, you have someone whose responsibility is to go and buy. Remember, we talked about even the financial management issues and so on. That person needs to even be keeping your receipts. They can give you a small report of what they have bought and what is remaining. When is this? So they are keeping track of even the stock and when they need to go and start buying. You can have another person who, for instance, is on the chef, the chef who is actually cooking. Again, that person, you need to make them be accountable. They should make sure that they are preparing the best meals.
Yes.
Because there's all sorts of competition out there. So that's why it needs to be clear. Today, why did you prepare food like this? And that's why you have to make sure people are really accountable. Now, because it's a small business, you also find that maybe the same people who are cooking, they're also going to be involved in cleaning. Some restaurants, for instance, they will have another person who is actually cleaning. If your job is to clean, keep away the flies, you need to make sure that that is being done. You can't have clients, they come in, they are eating, the place is dirty.
It's dirty.
Definitely, they are going to walk away. So that's why it's very important, even if it's a restaurant business or whatever type of business, you need to now define who will be doing what. If it's a waiter, sometimes the very people, there's the back office, the people are actually cooking on the other side. Somebody has to bring the orders. Someone is taking to the customers, and you have to also now see, as you assign those roles, who is their boss while you are there or while you are not there, because you also need, for instance, the waiters to be able to have certain skills. Yes. Being able to smile at the customers, taking orders, being able to remember things, writing and so on, so that someone has ordered fish and then you're bringing meat. That's not what they ordered. Yeah. So it's really important that as you look at that structure and as you assign the duties, you are paying a lot of attention to the kind of people that you have. That is for the team that you already have. Yeah. If you see that there is also a missing link in my business, this is where I also encourage that you also start hiring for that specific skill that you think you need in that business. So it's really important to look at those aspects and make sure you assign the duties so that you can also hold people accountable. Okay. Because you're going to say, if an order has been swapped, why are you talking to the person who's cleaning? So what do they have to do? In charge. There is someone who's assigned that thing, and you're in charge of making sure that the people are receiving the right orders. Because at the end of the day, you are looking at the business making money. So each person, and that's why we say, make these things very clear. Yeah. Where it is now, everybody say moon sound, and nobody knows who is responsible for what. Yes. It also creates problems. Even when customers have a complaint, for instance, sometimes they say, who can I talk to? The business should be very clear to say, go and talk to John. Oh, John, we have a problem here. Please come and meet with a customer. And they deal with the customers. the customer walks away. Not now where a customer has a problem and nobody now can attend to them. Can you talk to me? People who are angry, I can't. No. So really defining roles become very important. Within that small business, as I said, whether it's supply, it is whatever it is you're doing, you should, especially where you have formalized the business, and this is what we're encouraging. Remember, we're talking about the FACRA, NIMA, NAPS, and all those things. Yeah. You also, within your business, need to know who will be running with that. Okay. Either yourself or you assign to someone who make sure that those things are being done. That's why really defining the roles become extremely important, and in the end, it also even affects the salaries that you pay.
Okay. Now I'm being warned of time, but before maybe we even come to the conclusion, as you even give us your final thoughts, I would want to understand, we've spoken about setting up a structure, an organization structure, and we now know that it's very important for people to know their roles and duties because it also holds them accountable. Yeah. But as we all know, businesses these days are evolving. So one would then tend to wonder, to say, okay, what do I do then? Do I still need to go back and do another organization structure, or what do I do from there on?
Yeah, really, it's structures. Again, if it is big companies, usually you are going to have the strategy. The strategic plan is done, and then we create an organization structure based on that strategy, which could be the structure for you for the next 5 years. Yeah. For entrepreneurs, you don't need that. You can't say no because I'm going to have this for the next 5 years. No. We do believe that as an entrepreneur, SME, you need to be agile, you need to adapt. Yeah. So have a structure that works for you. And this is why we say, if you need a consultant, contact a consultant. Yeah. They help you to create that small structure, and there's some duties and even the salaries you need to pay. Yeah. As the situations change, maybe I'm now making more money and you need to hire more people. Call someone to help you, so that you structure yourself in a better way. Sometimes you have now money, you can even hire people with education and experience,
with the qualifications.
So you change the structure to meet your needs. Yes. But again, it has to be stable to a point where at least the team that you're working with, they know, okay, now we have changed, and you can also be getting feedback from them. But really, a structure should be changed to meet the needs of the business. Also taking into consideration the salaries that you're going to pay and the qualifications that you have to look at as your business grows.
Okay, your final thoughts to our SMEs who are actually watching and they're thinking, well, I have a business plan, but I don't even know how to execute it. Talk less of setting up a structure. I can afford to pay 5 people, but what do I start from? How do I go about it?
Really, I know when you are into business, sometimes there's a lot. Sometimes you have all these very nice written business plans, but really it's folding your sleeves and getting the job done on the ground, and really contributing a bit to the nation. But more so, it's important that you formalize these things, because, and I know where it comes to become a big problem, it's really more on the salaries eventually. You might think the structure is not important for you at that point, but you will find a situation where now people also start to complain. I'm doing more work. This one is getting paid this one is loved by the boss. All of a sudden, even things which are not there start to pop up. No, that's why she gets this. So that's why we emphasize, have some structure, and with that structure also work around the salaries. There's minimum wages that the government gives in terms of what it should be followed. So really, it's about looking at that as you formalize and grow your business as an entrepreneur, so that the structure that you have, the salaries you are paying, it is something that still makes you profitable, but it's something that also makes you to deliver the best service or deliver products to your customers.
Mr. Kabanda, thank you so much for making time to join us on the SME Corner. And of course, it's been quite a very interesting conversation, and looking forward to more of these conversations as we help SMEs in Zambia grow.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here, and just wishing the entrepreneurs the very best in their businesses as they contribute to national development.
Thank you. There you have it, viewers. We have been discussing structure of SMEs, structure for SMEs. How do you get to structure your business? It's very simple. You have heard. In case you're still doubting, you get to have a chance to contact experts to come and explain to you, to help you set up your business. And of course, you can get in touch with us on Millennium TV. That is on Facebook, Millennium TV Zambia. Of course, leave us a comment in case you want to get in touch with Mr. Kabanda to just help you on how to go about your business structure. We will be able to, share his details with you on our Facebook page. Just get in touch with us. We are Millennium TV Zambia. Of course, get interactive, and of course, we'll be able to interact with you and help you with the information that you need. We have had so much to give out, and I hope that SMEs out there have heard and they've learned one or two things, because the SME Corner is a show designed to help an SME become a successful entrepreneur. That is all we do on SME Corner. Until next time, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned to Millennium TV. Bye-bye and stay blessed.
General Consultancy is a globally recognized name with a 99% success rate on all our services. We pride ourselves in our service delivery, which puts our clients' interests above our own. We are your #1 consultancy for all immigration issues, visas for all countries, business brokering, company incorporation, ZRA consultancy, NAPSA, council permits and certificates, debt collection, labor issues, travel consultancy, research, project management, and all other general consultancy. We love to serve you even in the comfort of your own home and deliver to you beyond your expectations. Contact us on or WhatsApp 0973 066881 or visit our head office along Chipovu Road, plot number 7, Road Spark, Lusaka, Zambia.